Hi, my name is Emily and today I'll be talking about postmodernism in the context of pop culture. So the big question is, what is postmodernism? Well, in the simplest terms, postmodernism is the period that follows modernism. So what is modernism? The modernism movement ran between the mid-19th century to about the mid-20th century. Modernism was a period of optimism with the belief in scientific and technological solutions, as well as the expansion of one's knowledge in a new world order. The world then saw the destruction that came from two world wars, which led to disappointment and the questioning of, is this it? Modernism was a time of such progress and promise, but postmodernism was skeptic of this, as through globalization and the flow of information and ideas, people began to question what was the truth and what was fiction. French philosopher Jean-Francois Lyotard defined postmodernism as an incredulity towards all meta-narratives, meaning a skeptical attitude towards all claims of absolute truth. So the world became open to interpretation. There was now no fixed moral code, but also a nihilistic outlook on the world. This then formed the belief that we aren't going anywhere and everything has been done before. So within culture, there was a search for an alternative way to be creative. That's why with postmodernism, reviving, referencing and reliving is at the core of postmodern cultural concepts. So what does postmodernism have to do with pop culture? Well, within postmodern pop culture, the idea of skepticism had transcended through from the philosophical concept of postmodernism. Though not all pieces of postmodern culture are pessimistic or nihilistic, there is this evidence of questioning, allowing people to interpret media in a way that they see fit. Some meanings may be clearer than others, but this idea of reviving, referencing and reliving is one that allows a new form of art to be made. But it also allows us to begin to understand media as a way we recognize it as something that we've seen before. Therefore, it makes it easier for us to understand and easier for us to consume. Postmodern culture is made up of four pillars: intertextuality, parody, prestige, and self-reflexivity. Intertextuality is the shaping of a text through elements taken, borrowed, or referenced from other media. It takes familiar elements and reframes them, influencing an audience's interpretation of the text by adding a depth to the text based on the consumer's prior knowledge. Intertextuality is evidenced through the work of graffiti artist Banksy. Banksy's work is often political, with sometimes referencing elements from other media to draw attention and deliver a strong and influential message. This can be seen through the referencing of other artists, movies, TV shows, and sometimes other pop cultural references. The second pillar we see is parody. Parody is a type of intertextuality, which is mocking using familiar elements. It's important to note that not all intertextual texts are parodies. However, all parodies are intertextual. Parodies work in a way that rethinks and brings attention to a text in a new critical capacity, allowing the audience to see a new interpretation of the material. This is evident throughout Banksy's work, with many of his pieces using parody to portray this dark sense of humour. One of his most famous uses of parody is through the project Dismaland, which played parody to the infamous Disneyland. This exhibition showed many famous Disney elements were parodied and formed into a dark sense of humour, such as Cinderella crashing a chariot, which brought attention through the different interpretations of the art that the art was subjected to, such as drink driving and the comparisons to Princess Diana's death. Similar to parody is prestige, another branch of intertextuality where a text is imitated. Prestige, however, is not mockery of the content, but rather a celebration. Theorist Frederick Jensen explained how, unlike parody, prestige lacks ulterior motives and sarcastic impulses, seeming normal in comparison to a parody, which is comedical. A notable example of this is again in the work of Banksy. The Kissing Copper is an artwork which pays homage to "My God, Help Me Survive This Deadly Love" on the Berlin Wall in the East Side Gallery. Banksy uses both the message and the essence of the image to honour and exclaim the legacy of this art. Another postmodern culture is self-reflexivity. Self-reflexivity is the idea of media being aware of oneself. This is often called fourth wall breaking, meaning the breakdown between the barrier between the text and the audience. This term is applied to work that openly reflects upon their own process of artful composition. Throughout Banksy's works, self-reflexivity is prominent, with the art being portrayed to be aware of both its physical and social surroundings. In many pieces of Banksy's art, they address not only the external surroundings and narrative, but also the audience. His work opens this sense of awareness of beyond itself and breaking down this fourth wall between reality and art. So that is my take on postmodernism and pop culture. I hope this helps you understand a bit more about postmodernism.